It is morning time, isn't it? What up, y'all? Ooh-wee. How y'all doing? I know it's been a minute. It's been a hot ass minute. Good morning, grand rising. Some nice sipping ass ice cold water. Nothing but the best. Water. Oh, now you back? I ain't even gonna say necessarily that I'm back. I told you I only come out and speak when I have something to say. So I got something to say. No, I retired from the music business, baby. I don't do that no more. Although I got people still trying to bring me back in that space, I'm not feeling it. I'm waiting for more people to get on the live. I've been doing good. How y'all been doing? Well, y'all know what that is. You listening? All right. So I want to touch on a few subjects today. I want to school you guys on some things because I feel like it'll be beneficial, to share the information. I'm actually going on my Telegram channel to let everybody know there that I'm actually live on IG. So let me put that up here. I'm live on IG Live now. There. They'll hightail their butts over. They'll hightail their butts right over there. I did a big live actually. I unexpected live last night on my Telegram channel too. It's good to see you all as well. Good to see y'all as well. So, I'm going to talk a couple things because you guys have seen, for those of you that's been with me for a minute, I got these like new people that's now following me on Instagram and it's like really weird. Their energy's weird. It's like they're not really exposed to who I am and what I'm about. And so it's like having to retrain children all over again so they can get acclimated to who I am, right? So I want to talk about our connection to the cosmic and the galactic realms. I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about some other things as well that I had mentioned in the comments earlier. I want you guys to really understand that probably the majority of us are not what we are perceived to be, quote unquote, human. Okay? And when you think of extraterrestrials, that's exactly what we are. I'm not talking about anything alien related, I'm not talking about that. I am talking about individuals that has an intrinsic connection to the cosmic realm. Most of you don't even realize that the earthen realm itself was created for many different beings to come in and reincarnate on this realm to live out and grow past their karma. Okay? At any given time, I can look into you and see what your original spark was when Source first gave you life, their first spark. And whatever your first spark is, that is who you are at the core. It doesn't matter what you look like right now in this skin. Okay? That is who you are at the core. Now, for those of you that quote unquote believe in reincarnation or is aware of reincarnation, this message is for you. Throughout lifetimes, we have reincarnated many different times as many different beings. All of us did not incarnate as a human being. we have incarnated into various different beings. Okay? So, as those individuals are actually reincarnating here on the planet, what's happening is that this particular sun that we're dealing with right now is actually activating the original spark of who and what you are. Okay? I want you guys to understand that your paternal and your maternal ancestors, these are the ones that are connected both to your mother and father side. Okay? That would be those ancestors who are your uncles and aunts. And then you start getting into grandparents and great-grandparents, et cetera, right? And as you continue to keep going down the line, you'll start to realize as you keep going deeper, not from anything that's written down on paper, but if you start going deeper by going within and communicating with your ancestors, then we have what you call first-way ancient ancestors. Your first-way ancient ancestors have always been galactic and have always been cosmic. And the proof of this is when you look at the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics or you look at all the pyramids that are placed around the world. When you study the technology that they were utilizing at that time, which way they were utilizing frequencies to build these pyramids. Okay? They were utilizing frequencies, they were utilizing technology. EMP devices is something that we've always had. That's not anything new. Okay? All the technology that you hear these Caucasians talking about isn't anything new. The technology that they're utilizing is technology that our first-way ancient ancestors have always had. Okay? When you start talking about flying on saucers and spaceships, I need you guys to understand something, because I know that there's some people out here that don't really understand where I'm coming from and others that are coming from who speak about these things, right? We built ships. We were the first ones to build them in this realm. Although we have teleported, or we came through other portals, we have stargates. There's a total of like 12 main stargates and 24 sub-stargates on Earth. Not to mention that you have the stargates that are actually traveling, that the sun travels through and that the moon travels through. You guys should read the book of Enoch. It kind of breaks that down about how the sun travels around the sky and how the moon travels around the sky. Okay? There is many history accounts of our first-way ancient ancestors. If you start studying the quote-unquote myth of Atlantis, which there's nothing mythical about it, it was a very real place. When you start studying Babylon, you start studying the technology of Egypt and how Egypt was. And you guys have heard me say many times that we are 20,000 years behind Egypt when Egypt was in its prime. And I'm not talking about the Egypt overseas that you know to be Egypt. I am talking about the Egypt that inside the country called the United States of America. Okay? Now, what they've done, and you guys can go look this up on your own, you need to start studying the different animals that they show in depictions on the so-called hieroglyphics over in Egypt. If you look past the hieroglyphics and you look at the statues that are placed there, you need to take a look at that. You need to take a look at the rams, which are known to be from the Americas. Okay? When you start talking about the Teotihuacan pyramid here, which is really representing Tahuti, came from Mexico. When you start studying Anubis and you look at the Anubis or dogs that look like Anubis, the origins come from Mexico. So I'm in Mexico because I'm supposed to be here in Mexico, because this is where a lot of this stuff started, was in Mexico, all throughout the Americas, okay? You had temples of Osiris, temples of Isis, and all different types of other temples right inside the Grand Canyon in Arizona, okay? Some of your very first castles that were ever built were built by Aboriginal people in Arizona. And they're still up to this day. When they talk about the Americans, they're talking about us, the original people of America, but we have always had technology. So let me tell you something about this technology. It comes from the drum, it comes from the dance, it comes from the chanting, it comes from the frequency. A lot of us have been cut off from this information because we're speaking a language that is foreign to us, in a language that is a dead language. Okay? So you're not in tune to these other frequencies that actually can help you, assist you to move mountains in the way that you're supposed to. That's why we always say it's not wise whenever you're putting an affirmation out there or a prayer out there to use the English language. Why? Because it is a lower vibrational frequency type of tone and language. Not to mention it has a double meaning when you're speaking it. Okay? So I've seen people, have issues. When I brought Brother Rod Hayes out and he spoke about the situation concerning the King of the Americas. Let me tell you why that's so hard for y'all to process. It's hard for you to process because you don't know nothing about yourself. You don't know nothing about the history other than the history that was taught to you. And who taught you that history? What history did you learn? What his story did you learn? You learned about his story, but what did you learn about your own story? Why did they work so hard to make sure that your story was concealed? And who were the main puppeteers behind making sure that these things would stay hidden? A devil is going to be a devil. I want you to be clear about something. A devil is going to be a devil. For them, it's about self-preservation. So I need you to understand that. For them, it's about self-preservation. But what happens whenever you have the individuals who have the same skin as you, right? That have worked tirelessly to move against you. That have worked tirelessly for your enemy to hide things from you. To keep you dumbed down. To pull you down every single chance when you try to rise up. What about that enemy? Oh, well, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that today. Because I got to put you guys on notice. Because you guys don't understand what's happening right now, the times that we're living in. You see these ancestors, these first one ancient ancestors, you see when they see you contributing to the fall of your people, it's a certain type of ass whipping that comes with that. It's a certain type of retribution that's going to come with that when you work for your enemy. It's a certain type of place that they got for you when that punishment comes down on you. And believe it or not, my people, that punishment is coming down on a lot of people right now, even as we speak. It's happening right now, even as we speak. You see, as the frequencies get higher, and they're getting so much higher, I'm going to tell you what's happening. The people that wasn't on the frequencies that they were supposed to be on, they're going cuckoo. That includes people that look like us. And let me explain something to you. What they don't realize is that since they have participated in such actions, they have karma. They're coming right back here again. They're not inheriting anything related to 5D Earth. 5D Earth doesn't even want that type of energy on that planet because the frequency is very high. And I know a lot of you guys are sitting up here listening to people who think that they really got it down, and they're misleading you. Because they got you thinking that a particular way of thinking is going to be acceptable. Well, I can assure you, your asses will stay right here where you're at. Because you haven't evolved past a certain particular way of thought. The first thing you have to do is get rid of that hatred that's in your heart. That's the first thing you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get rid of that hatred that's in your heart towards that which birthed you. You're going to have to get rid of that hatred that's in your heart towards your mother. You're going to have to get rid of that hatred that's in your heart towards the divine feminine energy. I didn't say particular male or female. I'm talking about energy. Men can possess both divine feminine and divine masculine. And no, they don't have to be gay or trans anything to possess this energy for those who are in the know. Because I know some of you guys get this shit confused when I mention divine feminine and y'all begin caught up in feminine shit. You guys are ignorant as hell. Ignorant. Let me keep going. Let me explain to you clearly what the divine feminine energy is. It is nature. It is love. Now, I want you guys to take a hard look around you in your communities and look at how many people that are fighting like tooth and nail to not show that energy, that fight against it, that has waged war against it every chance they get. You see, the original indigenous tribes already understood because they were already in direct alignment with the matriarch energy. This is the reason why we even have the ability and the capacity to love thy enemy, even when your enemy can't do it for himself. We're the most forgiving and the most loving, right? I'm explaining to you where that comes from. It comes from the fact that you are governed, whether you want to admit to it or not, by the divine feminine energy. But here's what happens. You decide that you're going to move against that, and you're actually moving against yourself. So every single time that, I'm going to say this to the brothers, and I want them to be very clear. Every single time you call your woman a bitch, you call your woman a hoe, you degrade her every chance you get, you do everything that you can to oppose her, you still don't seem to understand that you're really just simply opposing a part of who you are. Therefore, you will bring curses down upon your life. You're doing it naturally to yourself. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you deal with the most ignorant, but what we're supposed to do as human beings is educate one another. That's what it was when I was coming up. We educated one another. And if those could not be educated, then you leave them alone and you keep it pushing. But you don't go out of your way to try to disrupt that energy, because it will topple you. It will topple you. And that's exactly what's happening now. Which brings me to the video that this young lady that I posted up on my Instagram channel. If you guys go look at the last video that I posted, the young lady was talking about there's a lot of attacks on indigenous women in Missouri. She thought that it was white men. And see, we always blame these white folks for everything, right? We don't never have any accountability for the shit that we do. I'm not saying that they don't do shit, but you have to learn how to properly discern situations. And then on top of that, you're also going to have to learn how to come to a certain acceptance about how things really are versus how you want them to be. Okay? Listen. If the black women are the most protected, or the most unprotected woman on the planet, whose fault is that? Let me take fault away. Let me take that away, because when I go there, everybody wants to come on board and they want to do this, that, and the third. And I'm not going to take away the responsibility. I'm saying let's speak the facts. If they are the most unprotected, where are the brothers at to protect them? Where they at? Everybody wants to get on board and want to talk about other shit. They want to talk about this and they want to talk about that, but they don't want to have any accountability. And I'm not saying that black women don't have accountability for the shit they do. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be clear, because I know some of y'all love to throw that up in my face because you don't understand or understand where I'm going with this. Okay? But it needs to be understood that if it is seen that women are not protected, then we become open targets. However, let's talk about this situation with Missouri, because I'm going somewhere with this. When that young lady was talking, I started channeling her energy. And then as I was channeling, I go into a meditation. And I'm starting to look into what's really going on behind the scenes with this situation. And lo and behold, the individuals that are actually doing all this murdering and killing are people that look like us. Let me tell you why that is. The frequencies that we're currently on right now is making a lot of them go crazy because they still harbor that hatred in their heart. And I want you guys to understand the magnitude of how far envy and jealousy can go. I don't really think that any of us have really taken that into consideration. Women, you really need to take the time out and really think about this. But also, let me say this, you also need to raise your vibrational frequency. You wouldn't be subject to that if your frequency was high. Because the ones that they're taking out are the ones at the frequency that are low. And unfortunately, during this time period, I already told you was going to see a lot of carnage. I already warned you about these men out here and how they were going to come for the women. I already told you about the witches are now in place. I done told you about the sentinels, these damn things that are in place that are now coming on board. And what did I say was going to happen? I said, you're going to start seeing people drop like flies left and right. This is what's happening. People are dropping like flies left and right because they're not operating on a certain particular frequency. And I also said this is going to be random. Because see, it's not happening with just women and their younger women. It's happening with older women. It's happening with elderly women. It's happening with children. It's random. When we talk about a purge, the purge is going to come by any means necessary. So even though I would like to see justice come to the individuals that are out here doing this, which they do have a horrible death coming to them, but even though that certain things have to play itself out because the cosmic contracts are up, and now things must manifest as they must manifest. So a lot of you guys are going to be watching. A lot of you guys are going to be aware. But you damn sure need to be aware of the frequencies because there are a lot of people out here that are starting to lose their mind because they did not raise their vibrational frequency to where it's supposed to be. This is why this is happening. I already told you the war started. I already told y'all this, and you're going to continue to keep seeing people fall dead to the wayside. But we need to have that discussion about that hatred. I'm getting wind. I'm getting whispers in the air about there are groups out here of men now that are looking to attack women every chance they get. They're out here listening to Kevin Samuels and shit, and they still don't even fully understand what that man's message really is about. But they're out here listening to Kevin Samuels and thinking some kind of way that their broke asses fit inside that category when it ain't got nothing to do with their broke asses at all. They don't fit in that category about the shit that Kevin Samuels talk about. But some kind of way they think they fit in that category when they do not. So you got that shit going on. These delusional ass niggas out here, okay, that are broke as hell, don't have no ability to provide for a woman, getting on one with women, not realizing their position in their fucking place. Right? So they out here listening to Kevin Samuels thinking that, oh, I fit in this category. Nigga, you ain't even making $50,000 a year. How you fit in that category? You got at least be at 100 stacks. And he already broke down the percentages on that shit. So what the hell is really going on with you 30,000 niggas and you $25,000 niggas and you $10,000 to $15,000 niggas? Are you serious right now? How you think you fit in that category? And women, you don't give no niggas like that no pass for shit. Now, y'all can come together, I guess, and work on some shit. Nothing wrong with that. But y'all tripping in the mind and shit with that extra shit. You tripping. Just like the woman out here who's got 50 fucking kids out here that's looking for a damn millionaire to take care of her ass. It's the same delusional ass shit. It's all delusional. Both of this shit is delusional. What I'm saying to you is, when it comes to these groups that are coming in, that are talking, that are making these comments and shit like that, they have no position to be making any comments of the sort. None. And the main ones that are making the comments are the ones that are broke as hell. The main ones. And they're jealous and they're envious. Period. Now, it's a hard pill to swallow when you really think about it. And it's sad when you really think about it. And it's hurtful when you really take the time out and you really think about it. Because you don't ever want to look at your own people as one that is actually trying to take you right on up out of here. Especially when it comes to our men. But even I had to come to a conclusion, and I had to look at some things here, and some shit ain't right. I'm not speaking from a place of not wanting to take accountability, so make sure you understand what this queen is saying here. Okay? Let's be clear. I know how y'all love to throw that up in my face, and it's not going to work. What I'm talking about here is addressing the real issues at hand. It's been patriarch for a very long time. This shit started all the way back in the cosmos, whenever there was wars taking place in the cosmos, where they did everything they could to try to overturn the divine feminine. Okay? That contract is up. Now the divine feminine is establishing order, not only here on earth, but all throughout the cosmos. That's what's happening. Because at one point in time, because earth is a female planet, it is matriarch in nature. It is matriarch in nature. It's natural, in other words. But there has been a lot of people that have taken on thought processes, ideologies, and belief systems that have no basis in what reality really is really about. And whether or not you want to respect order is irrelevant, because if you don't respect order, no problem. You're going to get your ass right on up out of here anyway. And it's not going to make a difference what you want, that shit don't even matter. Your ass is out of here. Your days are numbered. And your days are numbered because you can't see what's really going on right now because you're too caught up in your own shit. You can't see the bigger picture. Your ego won't even let you see past it. Your arrogance won't even let you see past it. You don't even have the ability to hear the coded messages that are coming out right now. You can't hear it properly. So this message is only for the people that actually have the ability to hear the message. It is not for anybody else. Now we're in a position right now where there has been, I've been keeping tabs of the earthquake maps heavy. I've been keeping tabs of just different things that are going on, just for my own knowing, to see what's going on, right? And as time continues to progress, you guys are going to see more and more things happening, and you're not going to be able to stop what's destined to happen, because Earth is already splitting. The people are splitting. But let me just say this one thing. Just because you're conscious and you have some self-awareness does not give you access to the 5D. Some of you guys are actually literally born here to live out certain atonements for shit you did in your previous lifetimes. Some of you guys are supposed to suffer and come back here again, because some of you guys are participating in certain activities that you didn't learn before in your previous lifetime. You're supposed to be in this lifetime either atoning or correcting your shit. How do you start that? How many times have I told you this? Go to the shadow, then get deeper. But I'm gonna tell you something. 5D Earth, if you guys seriously think that 5D Earth, that frequency, is gonna be tolerating the shit that you see out here with people, you guys got another thing coming. They're gonna stay right here. They ain't going nowhere. Trust and believe when I tell you they're not going nowhere. And I'm gonna also pass a message out to you celebrities. Y'all can chop this video down, put it on TikTok. Y'all can specifically do this part right here, but I gotta say this one thing. These so-called celebrities that are out here trying to sell your people down the drain, you sitting up here telling lies to your people, so you in bed with that devil who pays your bills, right? Okay, so let me tell you how this gonna go. You need to be careful before you find yourself at the mercy of a 14-year-old ready to take your ass right on up out of here. See, these new kids on the block that's out here right now, we call them cosmic assassins. They were born on this earth to come clean up. I don't want you guys to understand something. A lot of these people that are in bed, that are putting out the wrong type of messages, not only do they not inherit 5D, their offspring won't inherit 5D, They will be cursed, their offspring will be cursed, and their offspring's offspring's offspring will be cursed. That's how that's going. So the decisions that you make today, your offspring will pay a price for that in the future. If they even make it through, if your line even makes it through. The children always suffer from the sins of the father. Remember that. Some of you that went out here and plotted against your people for a paycheck, your days are numbered. Mark my words, y'all. Give it to the end of this year where you're going to start seeing more of this happen, more and more of this happening. You also have these things that I told you that are landing on people's heads and also making them lose their mind, and soon they're going to lose their mind. Have you guys been noticing the people around you that's been losing their mind? Have you noticed how crazy folk been acting out here? And this even goes to you low vibrational women out here. This also goes to you too. Because some of y'all are low vibrational as hell. You're loud, you're disrespectful, and wrong. I just want to let you know you don't inherit 5 the earth either. Because the mission that all of you should be on should be, how do I get my frequency to match Earth's frequency right now? How do I get my frequency to match hers? How do I seek out higher things? How do I learn more about myself? How do I get to the next level? If that's not your focus, and your focus is being distracted with shit that is low vibrational, that don't have no nothing to nothing, well then, where you're at is where you're going to remain at. And see, let me tell y'all something. I'm not for no debate, and I'm not coming out to debate with folks and argue. I'm not even with the shits. Because see, if you come at me like that, you're going to get silenced, and then you're just going to have to deal with that energy that comes from your head afterwards. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just a messenger. Getting out the message. 12 in the building. I see y'all. You got dudes out here mention my name and shit like that, and then not following through with certain shit that they saying. I see you. I see you. Oh, I see you. You see, you put yourself on my radar and forced me to look dead into you. Wasn't a good look. Not a good look. I'm not here to be anyone's friend. I'm not here for any of that type of shit. I'm in my space, and I'm in my mission, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. All the rest of that shit that everybody else is on is totally and completely irrelevant to me. I don't care. Now, let me talk about this other thing. So, y'all know I retired from the music business back in 2018. There are certain people that I really rock with that's still in the game a little bit. One of them, his name is Trey the Truth. Trey puts up, him and Tamika Mallory and a group of people decided they're going to go down to the border to see what's going on with the Haitians. Can somebody explain to me how when they got there, and Trey has the pictures up right on his Instagram, he puts the pictures up and he says something weird going on. He said, we get here, there's no Haitians. There were other families there that they went ahead and assisted, but there wasn't any Haitians. So you mean to tell me that all 15,000 people just got the hell on overnight? Is that what happened? How many times have you guys saw me put videos after videos after videos of CGI and how on the green screens and how they can create any kind of background they want to make it look like a specific way when that's not really what's going on, so they can play on your emotions because they want to play on our emotions because they utilize our emotions for their magic, right? So everybody getting caught up in the whole thing with Haiti. I didn't post the shit to my page because I knew the shit was a farce. I looked into the shit. It's a farce. And then seeing his pictures on Instagram, all that did was prove what I thought from the very beginning, that's a farce. So you mean to tell me that these folks that got on some kind of way, left their country, let's say on paddle boats, came up through South America, hit South America, traveled to get from South America all through Mexico, all the way up to get to the Texas border with no money? Who's doing that? And then on top of that, I'm just saying that the amount of heat that you're dealing with and the terrain that you're dealing with coming in through South America and then coming up the terrain and all of that shit, and you're with kids and shit, right? And you ain't got no money. How the hell did you get to the border? How did you get to the border to get inside the United States? How did you get there? Who helped you? Who assisted you? Then, when it comes out that they're all going down there, the quote-unquote Black Matters protest, quote-unquote, is going down there to possibly put together a protest, which Trey corrected them and said it was two different organizations that went down there. All of a sudden, they get there, and there's not a single Haitian there? This is the reason why I never posted anything on my page about it. This is the reason why I didn't get emotional about it. I didn't get emotional about it, and I didn't post anything about it because it's not real. There are programs that are put into place to play on our emotions, especially ours. Because see, we're so powerful with our emotions, we have the power to shut all this shit down, but because we haven't done the necessary things to work on ourselves and we're distracted by lower shit that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, they can take that energy and they can harness it for whatever it is that they need to harness it for. This is the reason why they're always doing stuff like this and showing police killings all the time in mainstream media and videos. And then, did you ever stop to think about those people who are constantly posting this type of shit on their Instagram? You don't see me posting this shit on my Instagram because I never want my people to be I don't ever want the energy of my people to be placed in victimhood. So you're going to see me put shit up about our victories. Very rarely are you going to see me put something up there that puts us in a place of victimhood. So then you got to start questioning pages like Sean King. You got to start questioning that shit. You got to start questioning all these other pages of these men that are putting up these pages of everybody, something always negative happening to our people. You have to begin to start questioning this shit because there is an energy here and a narrative here. And just because these people look like you or say that they're representing you does not mean that they're for you. There is a narrative here that's being pushed not just by mainstream media, but by people who look just like you. See, your biggest enemy actually isn't going to be the guy who doesn't look like you. Your biggest enemy is going to be the guy who acts like the guy who doesn't look like you, but he looks like you. That's your enemy. And they may not even understand how they're being utilized by the Matrix. They may not understand that because see, the Matrix is cold. And how it decides of how it wants to operate and who it wants to affect. The Matrix is very real, and it will utilize whomever, whenever, to get out its agenda across when it comes to us as a people and keeping us in check, especially during this time period whenever we're all currently activating. Now, somebody said one day, well, what powers? Well, baby, if you are asking these types of questions, then clearly you are not on the frequency, in which case that won't happen for you. So if you're not having any experiences as such, it's not for you. Not everybody, this is not going to happen to everybody out here. There is such thing called growth. There is a such thing called maturity. There is a such thing called experiences that you need to have so it matriculates in your growth process so you can come to certain understandings. I do not expect some of you to understand where I'm coming from. You didn't go through the experiences I went through in my lifetime. You weren't there. Okay? So whatever experiences that you guys are having, that is what's going to assist you in ascending as long as you're able to recognize the lesson. So I am questioning, and I'm not talking down on anyone. What I'm doing is I am questioning the narrative that's being projected to us. That is what I'm doing. And everybody should be questioning the narrative that's being directed to us. Everybody should be questioning the narrative. Because you know what I'm realizing? What I'm realizing is there are people that have even hit me down here, because y'all know I live in Mexico. There are people that hit me down here talking about they had heard some other shit, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell you people are talking about. If that's going on, I don't know nothing about what you're talking about. I don't see any of that shit going on here where I'm at. I don't know what you people are talking about. So now, because the war is for your mind, we have to be ever so careful about what we discern out here. Okay? Now, sometimes I might put a post up on my Instagram and I may question something. If there's a concept that's created, you can best believe it's going to eventually come to life. There was a time of day when the concept of the smartphone was talked about back in the 90s. If y'all remember. Remember the commercial about the guy that was hiking in the mountain and he had his smartphone before the smartphones even came out? And then several years later, the smartphones started coming out? If there's a concept of something, that means regardless of who created it or why it was created, because some of you guys don't understand how this matrix works. You're too busy trying to debunk something that what I'm saying to you is going completely over your head because the shit is being put out into the ethers. In other words, there is no such thing as by accident or by mistake or they were just doing that for this or that shit doesn't exist. If I'm showing you something, I'm letting you know at some point in time, this is the direction of where it's going. Why? Because we are talking something that is hitting the collective consciousness. As soon as it's addressed out there and put out there to the public, it literally hits the energy of the collective consciousness. Then what happens with the collective consciousness? We start talking about it, then it ends up manifesting itself. Remember I told you guys that your mind was technology? Remember that? How they create these machines, these saucers, and everything else that's been created started here first, and then it manifested itself into something, into reality. Remember that? So don't think for 1 second that just because someone created something or edited something or what have you, that thing cannot manifest itself. See, you don't realize how magical you are just yet. You guys are still thinking that you're powerless and shit. You guys are running around here thinking that you have no power, no nothing, and everything is goddamn fairy tale, when all they did was invert the teachings on everything that you know. They inverted the teachings. And you can't even see that the teachings have been inverted and that the teachings have been taught in reverse. You can't see it. Because you've been indoctrinated to think a specific way. If you don't get out of that thinking, you'll never become free up here. And you get mad at people when people can become free up here because you don't understand it. You think the person is crazy. Oh, you're off your rocker. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's people I know right now in the music business that I told about this shit, the shit that's happening right now. I told these fools that 15 years ago. And you know what they're doing now? They're hitting me up on the phone saying, you know what? What you're doing right now, this is what you should have always done. Because I've always been conscious, even when I was in the music business. Those same Negroes come to me now and want to know what the hell's going on. They're still following me on my Instagram, and they hit me up on the DM. Some of them call me on the phone. We have conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, I remember when you was telling us this shit. I specifically remember these conversations when we was in the studio and we was talking about this, that, and the third, and I'm seeing some weird shit go on, fam. I didn't believe you at first. I thought you was crazy. Well, let me ask y'all something. You still think I'm crazy now? Or you still don't see anything? You're still blind? Head still in the sand? You ain't ready to face that real life? Let me explain something to y'all, and you better hear me clear. If you can't even handle, and this is considered to be mundane when you're talking about levels of knowledge and elevation, if you can't handle this shit right here that's on earth, then you definitely not going to be able to handle shit on the spiritual realm. You damn sure ain't going to be able to handle shit on the galactic realm. Because see, there has to be a certain kind of maturity in place. There has to be a certain type of maturity in place. And for far too long, we live in a country that coddles people and promotes them not taking responsibility for the shit they do. Now we're in the age of Aquarius where everybody has to be held accountable. There is no secrets in Aquarius. That's why there's so much shit coming out on people right now. That's why you see all the craziness going on right now. It's happening like this because you can't hide nothing anymore. So if you guys are sitting up here thinking, oh, I got some secrets and shit, and I'm going to pray this shit don't come out. Oh, all of your shit's going to come out. It don't matter what level you're operating on, all of your shit's gonna come out. It's gonna smack you dead in your face, and it's gonna keep smacking your face, and you're gonna keep doing the same shit over and over again until you learn the lesson. The goal here is to elevate, right? You're supposed to elevate your mind, right? Take ownership of the shit you did, right? Heal from the shit that traumatized you. Learn to incorporate that aspect of yourself. Become a stronger person, and then move to the next level. Y'all be trying to jump the cart before the horse and shit. You ain't did a lick of shadow work, but you sitting up here talking about all this other shit, and you don't even believe half the shit that's coming out your mouth. You out here clout chasing. That's what you're doing. You're out here clout chasing. Because you think that's some cool shit to say or what have you, and you have no idea that the real ones see right through that bullshit. And then when we come out and call your asses out, then you want to get on one about that. This is a time now, people, where if the message isn't coming from a place of love, that's divine feminine. If it's not coming from a place of love, you got to be careful. Be careful about who these people are warring against. Watch what energy they're actually warring against. That's going to tell you everything you need to know. It don't take a rocket scientist for you to figure it out. But see, you don't want to go down that same rabbit hole that they're going down. Because the shit that they're about to start dealing with and the karma that they're about to start dealing with ain't your journey. So you want to be careful about that shit that you're getting yourself wrapped up into. You want to be careful about that. You might want to take a step back and be like, let me see how this makes me feel when I hear the message. Does this feel right to me when I hear the message? Divine feminine. Does this feel right when I go to the heart? Does this feel right when I hear the message? That shit don't feel right to me, fam. It don't feel good. That's your cue. I can be harsh on y'all's asses at any given time, but you know when I'm speaking from here. Because I deal with y'all on a very core, real level. And I don't give a shit about what anybody got to say or think about me. I don't care. And they know I don't give a fuck. That's it. I'm comfortable being in this space. That's why I got this shirt that says, I'm not for everybody, and I'm okay being in that space. I don't want to be for everybody. I'm only here to activate, give you the message, activate you. You take whatever you need to take from it, and you incorporate it to whatever it is or whatever your learning experience on. And if I'm able to assist you in some kind of way, then I did my job, whatever that is. But you always know that when I'm coming out, whether I'm coming off soft or if I'm coming out harsh, you know I'm coming from a place of love. Some of these folks' messages you can hear when they're coming from the ego, when they're coming from arrogance. You'll know it, you'll hear it. And then you're going to feel it. And they can't hide that. There's no hiding that. You can't hide who and truly what you are. What I'm saying to you people is that more and more people are going to be exposed. It's going to get to a point where you see people as they really are. And there's quite a few of them out here that's exposing themselves on a whole nother level I've never seen in my life be exposed. I mean, goddamn, it's on some black TMZ shit right now. And the crazy part about it is, they're doing it to themselves. Nobody's forcing them to act a fool out here in public. They're literally just out here doing it to themselves. The frequencies, divine feminine energy, dealing with people and right in the public. Because it didn't came out on their people in the public wrong, so now they get dogged out in the public right in front of everybody while they think they good, and people are looking at them like they crazy, like they didn't lost their goddamn mind. You're seeing it. You're witnessing it. You're witnessing what's been staring at you in front of in your face the entire time. You're seeing it for what it is. You're not going to be able to close your eyes like this and pretend like you don't see it. You see it. And there was a lot of people that we looked up to in this community that was putting out some really good information at one point. But then I started seeing the real finesse and the real hustle. And I started seeing how when the heat was getting turned up, how they started to unravel. I started seeing that right before my eyes. I'm like, oh no, baby, no, no, no. See, let me explain to you what money does to people. Money doesn't change who you are. It just brings more of who you really are out. That's all it does. That means if you weren't right on the inside and you got money, all of a sudden, all that's going to do is bring more of who that is, who you are out. You get a lot more followers than you had before. You get a little bit more notoriety than you had before. Yeah, that's bringing more of who you really are out. You're being exposed. And don't even know that this is what's happening. Some of y'all need to take a step back, take a break from social media, regroup your shit, get into doing some shadow work, and get your shit back on track. Because I want to see y'all win. Because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, right? We're humans. We make mistakes. Sometimes we don't see how other people see us. Sometimes we don't see that. That's what the shadow work is about. The shadow work is about you being able to deal with exactly how people really see you. So if you want to start your shadow, people say, well, how do I start my shadow work? Well, start here. Ask the people that are closest to you to give you a no-holds-barred conversation about how they really think about you and how they really see you. And keep your mouth closed and don't interrupt shit. Let them get it all out. Make space for them, whether it's sisters, brothers, family members, your children, what have you. Tell them, I need you to be 100% completely honest. Don't blow smoke up my ass. Don't worry about you feeling like that you're going to be disrespectful to me. None of that type. Don't do any of that type of shit. I need you to flat out tell me straight up point blank, how do you really feel about me and how do you really see me as a person? 100. And let's see if you like those responses. That's a shadow. Because when that truth comes, baby, when that truth comes, baby, about your ass, that shit burns, baby. That shit burns like you ain't never felt a burn in your life. That shit will send you back to, look, for those of you that got hair, your shit's all out here somewhere. You're walking around in a goddamn bathrobe and some slippers and shit, and you're crying for days. Because here you thought you was one way, and come to find out, nah, that ain't what it is. You may have some good traits about you, but you also got some fucked up ass shit about you that you need to address, and then you need to find out, how do I correct that shit? Then it's going to take you back to your childhood or whatever traumas you had, and then you have to make space for that and grieve for that. That's shadow work. If you can't deal with yourself on a very real level like that, you niggas ain't doing no damn shadow work. How the hell you gonna get to 5D when you can't get past yourself? That's the real deal shadow work, y'all. When one has the ability to face the biggest demon in their damn life, which is the same person you look at in the mirror. That is your shadow. The same person who will duck and dodge, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to talk about that shit. I don't want to hear that truth. I don't want to hear that. Blah, that nigga right there. And it hurts. It's hurtful. It's painful. You have a whole lot of nights when you're crying. I'm talking about them hard, like, them hard cries that come directly from the core of your stomach, your solar plexus, that type of cry. Y'all ain't about that life. Y'all better get up out of here with that bullshit. You're not about that life. I can look at you and see if you about that life. And see, them traumas, let me tell you what them traumas do for you from childhood. They shape you into becoming something that is destructive to your being. You cause destruction because you're hurt, so you're hurting everybody else. You're causing a path of destruction. You hurt people even though you don't mean to hurt them. And you feel justified in your convictions, right? But you don't see how crazy your ass looks to other people. But you steady. When I see people go out here doing that type of shit, the first thing I think to myself is, goddamn, that person's in some serious pain. And they're projecting all that pain that they never dealt with to anybody that they come into contact with that's willing to accept that bullshit, until you come across the right one that tells you, you're just simply hurt. And you need to deal with yourself. Don't bring that shit over here. I'm going to give it back to you. See, too many of y'all have accepted certain abuses from your parents, from cousins and aunties and shit, and you took their sickness and you held it and made it a part of you. And their shit ain't got nothing to do with you. You supposed to get that shit back to where the hair came from and then heal from it. Ain't no fixing it, because you can't fix that, but you can heal from it. Some of you guys are not living in your true purpose because you're still operating in pain. Ladies, you're in your divine masculine. You don't speak up. That's why your throat chakra will be jacked up, because you see shit that really offends you and you don't speak up and you don't speak your piece right when it happens. All right, y'all. Instagram kicking me off. I got 17 seconds remaining. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.